All right, welcome to another edition. Continuing right where I left off last time. Playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, and we're watching the Anton Daniels, The Millionaire Morning Show. You're working with migrants against us. Chicago residents give Mayor Brandon Johnson reality check.
Thing that I want to highlight is my girl Danny. What up, Danny? Danny. We might get to a couple other people on top of that. But my girl Danny and them over there at Chicago Red, they doing work. If y'all don't appreciate people that's in y'all own city that's doing the work, let me give them a round of applause before we even get to it. Danny is over here with all kind of smoke for Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. See, I never thought that I would actually run into people on a local level that was as passionate about what's going on in these cities as I am. But I think we found them. And shout out to everybody that's over there with Chicago Red. You know Tom Dog got y'all back. See, Roland Martin and them, they don't want to highlight y'all. Steve, what's his name? Steve Harvey, he don't want to talk to you. All of these news organizations and streamers, they don't want to give y'all no love. D.L. Hughley, they ain't got y'all back. Ricky Smiley, he don't love black people like they say that they do. They not trying to understand it from the other side. They only want to hear and see y'all fail. But Anton from AntonDaniels.com, I love you. I got your back. I'm the person that's going to hold you down. You know what I'm saying? Let's hear what they had to say to Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. Let's go over to the actual conversations that they was having with B. Johnson.
Mayors out here and governors, y'all talking about crashing out for these illegals, right? You all stood up there and said you would not allow Trump to come in here and get these illegals. Yeah, you can smile. We're in $1 billion deficit. And you spent half of our money, half of that on illegals. You campaign and double down that you would not raise property taxes. I ain't gonna do that. You campaign went around doing that. And here we are right now. You wanted to raise our taxes $300 million. They shut it down. Now we back here for $150 million. Okay. See, this is what we asking now. Since you want to crash out, some of y'all said y'all willing to go to jail for it. Trump, Tom Homan, make an example out this Negro right here first. Please come here first. Because you know what? We're going to help you. We want to forensic.
Ma'am, I would ask that you keep your... Hold on a second. Stop her time. Just a second. Stop her time.
Look at that.
Ma'am,
look
I would ask that you, if you want to continue speaking, you have to make sure that your language is appropriate, okay?
What language did she use that was inappropriate, Pastor? Because I know he likes it. He likes to talk to the archdiocese. He likes to talk to the people of Chicago. Ma'am, if you want to continue speaking, and if you want to speak in an appropriate manner, then you are going to have to make sure that your language is appropriate. She didn't call him out of his name. She didn't curse. She didn't say anything disrespectful. She is just absolutely passionate about what she's standing for. She didn't threaten nobody. None of that. Not little old Danny. Not little old fitness Danny. Talk to him, girl. Talk to him.
Okay. All right. Okay, you can begin her time again.
You're going to spend our tax dollars to go, Michael Rodriguez, you said to take Trump to court to protect these illegals. You said you're going to spend our tax dollars to take Trump to court to protect these illegals if they try to come in your district. And then you said they all of y'all in cahoots with each other to do it. Okay, so now we about to make y'all famous. We're going to let all y'all constituents know who y'all riding for. That y'all wouldn't spend our tax dollars to protect illegals and to get them legal services. So, that's what we're doing.
Ain't that crazy? They willing to spend Chicagoans' tax dollars on sheltering giving hundreds of millions of dollars to the staffing companies.
If this country was
and
successful, we
to
could
provide
do stuff
them
like
with
that.
legal
But it's
services.
not. We're dying.
They are willing to straight up.
We're literally
Come on,
dying.
man. It's got to be some kind of kickback, some kind of incentive.
Jesus.
I don't know anybody, not one person, nobody. I don't know nobody that's willing to go to bat and lose their jobs because that's what's happening. There is a reckoning, and I don't know if anybody is paying attention to the voice of the people, what's happening on the ground, or what is happening in the national election and how that's trickling down into what's going on the local level. People voted to give Republicans unprecedented power in all three levels of government. All three levels of government. And y'all don't think that y'all gonna be affected? Man, listen, I ain't losing my bag for nobody. I'm not losing my bag for nobody. Nobody. Well, straight up. People, they do more for less. They are willing to lose their jobs to crash out for people that are not even legally supposed to be here. There has to be some kind of incentive that goes along with it. It has to be something else that go along with it. You're not going to sit here and tell me that people is just wanting, listen, I'm just so passionate about people that I've never seen before and possible criminals that's over here kicking the police and kicking their necks in and doing some of the craziest crimes and the gangs and the violence that's going on in Chicago and letting them sleep in the police department and giving them unprecedented amount of money and helping them to buy homes. From where? How? How does that level of passion translate for people you've never seen before in your entire life? You're no way ever in life going to convince me that people are willing to crash out this bad for people that can't even speak English. I'm not going for it.
That's cool, because we about to make all of y'all aldermen famous. Y'all think this is how it's going to ride? I think not. Flip Chicago red.
Talk to him, baby. I love Danny. Y'all want me to bring Danny back on the platform?
Our next speaker this morning is Miss Lawrence.
Now let's get down to Tom Homan and 8 U.S.C. 1324. Different editions of 1994, 2020, 2021, and 2022 about...
You got to be careful of people like this because they know they know the law.
Let's do this.
When they talk real prudent like this, they know the law.
You harvesting aliens. And you so strong about protecting those aliens, but you won't do nothing for the U.S. citizens.
And they start talking to the mic like this, and you don't do nothing for U.S. citizens. They're not playing no games. They're not playing no games.
We are the ones who pay your salaries. Salaries. Let me accentuate on that. But yet, you want to overlook us like we don't exist. Well, you're not going to exist for the next election because there's a 10-year prison sentence when you want to stand up here for those illegals.
Ain't going to no jails.
Our next speaker is George Blakemore.
Let's talk to George.
Brenda Johnson didn't bring this doo-doo here. It's been here. Old Man Daley, Harold Washington, Richard Daley, Lady Lightfoot. This man did not bring this doo-doo in this room.
Did he say doo-doo? Like doo-doo, man, that's doo-doo that you eating. Is he saying doo-doo?
It's been here. And you've been voting for this doo-doo too. Well, maybe some of you have, and maybe this is all rigged. They're all Democrats. All of, and it's been this way. So some of y'all get up here and spit in this mic and holler, it's been this way. This is nothing new under the...
And here's the thing. This is why you got to do away with the old guard. We like to get these people on here to say they do too. But this is why you got to get rid of the old guard, because these old folks, they so disconnected. They so supportive of their oppression and the Victim Olympics and being on a Democratic plantation. They are willing to go to the grave to hold it down, even though it's the worst thing that ever happened to you. This man is giving away hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars and resources and money directly related to this migrant crisis, and he's trying to cape for him instead of get him out. This guy is one of the reasons why the Brandon Johnsons and the Karen Bass stay in office. These are the type of people, these loyal people are the ones that keep the Tiffany Henyards and the Fawny Willises elected. They're the ones that keep them elected. I'm telling you, 100%.
Now, how are you going to get rid of all of them? All of them, and make it happen, make it work. I don't think you're going to do it just holler and go red. I think you're going to have to have some strategic aim to clean this doo-doo up. This is old doo-doo.
Old
this doo-doo go back a long time. And you don't smell it now because it's dry, but you can see the results of it. It needs to have a change here. All of them are the same. Every one of these men and women are the same point. All of them.
Any man.
So
Stay in the microphone, Mr. Blakemore. Stay in the microphone.
A revolution to change this system and clean it up and have a real democratic system, a democracy where you have different points of view. Everybody here is the same doo-doo. All of them. Have you ever seen a bad
Thank you very much for your comments. However, your time has expired.
It's the same doo-doo, man.
Our next speaker is Mr. Cruz.
Today I stand here as a concerned citizen to speak out against the leadership of Mayor Brandon Johnson, a leader whose actions and affiliations are doing a disservice to our once great city. Under the current mayor's administration, we've seen a disturbing trend. A mayor more concerned with pandering to special interest groups and non-taxpayers than with making the tough, necessary decisions to move the city forward.
So straightforward and dedicated and just getting it straight out.
Mayor Johnson's leadership can be defined by demagoguery, fueled by progressive rhetoric and driven by a divisive agenda that plays to the lowest common denominator rather than striving for unity, fiscal responsibility, or the common good. We do not need progressive revenue initiatives. We have an addiction to spending, and it must be fixed immediately. The CTS budget in 2010 was $5.3 billion, roughly $13,000 per student to educate. In the 2025 budget, the budget for CPS is $10 billion, or $31,000 per student. When is enough enough? That's the cost to go to the University of Illinois. What's more troubling is the mayor's blatant disregard to address the rising cost of living, worsening infrastructure, and mounting public debt. His proposal to raise property taxes was egregious and was lost by 50-0 vote. He and his supporters refused to give in on the sanctuary status when we've spent over $600 million on migrants this year, while Chicago is basically insolvent.
I agree with every single person outside of the doo-doo, man. I agree with everybody that's holding Mayor Johnson accountable. I just hope that the rest of the people that's in the city, because y'all got millions of people that's in Chicago, actually care and they mobilize and they don't just take this opportunity to hold them accountable. It should not be the same people every single week that is holding Brandon Johnson accountable. That's my main problem with people that don't get engaged. But yet they'll sit there and complain about what's happening to little man, and, you know, we don't have no money, and it ain't no jobs, and the police ain't coming. It's the same people that hold y'all down. The same people is there every single week. The same people is there every single month. The same people is in the community mobilizing, and y'all acting like it's their job when they doing it for free every single week.
see. What are we at? I can already see the timer. It says 16 minutes. Oh, we got plenty of time. Okay. I thought it was an hour and 16. I tell you, I lose track of time. Straight up delusional Whoopi.
I don't care what y'all say.
Whoopi
I
used
like
to be
lunch ladies.
solid.
I used to like watching the lunch ladies
Whoopi
crash
used to
out
be
back on
pretty
Vivica
damn
Fox.
good. I used to watch
Lisa
that
Ray,
show.
Selena Johnson,
But
and that
they
other
changed,
chick was
man.
on
They're leftists,
Fox
100%.
Soul.
It shouldn't
I used
even
to love
be
it.
political.
I
mean,
used to watch them faithfully
They're
to
supposed
see
to
the
back
lunch
us up,
ladies
and
say
they're
some
not.
of the worst takes of all time. Sometimes, I don't know if y'all have ever been to a comedy show before, but sometimes when you go to a comedy show, you laugh at how dumb they are, at how stupid they are. Improvs are hilarious, right? The slapstick comedy and the improv comedy is sometimes way more funny than seeing an established comedian. Y'all need to start going to local shows. Don't just go to the big shows. Don't just go to the Dave Chappelle's and all of that type of stuff, right? Don't just go to the Kendrick Lamar. I know he just recently announced a new tour. Don't just go to the Drake concert and all of that stuff. Go to the local shows. That junk be lit. Absolutely awesome. And sometimes you laugh at how bad it is, but it's just as entertaining. And that's kind of the way that I see The View. The View recently gave their perspective because they couldn't avoid it. They failed to talk about Kamala Harris's message to her supporters because they knew that it was bad. They failed to accurately cover what was going on in the election and the sentiment of the people of how they losing. They absolutely continue to run in the Victim Olympics, but they could not avoid this because this was the biggest news of the week. And the biggest news was Hunter Biden getting pardoned. All right, so we've been covering this all week, but we want to get their perspective even deeper into what is going on and what the fallout is going to be in the Democratic Party as far as what this is. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me get to the actual show itself. I don't need their intro. I don't need their music. I don't need none of that. I just want to get straight to the intro. They've been having less people on The View, too. It's really interesting.
Because this is the kind of gal she is our former co-host, Abby Huntsman.
Guy was in my sweatpants, like cleaning up mac and cheese off the floor, and Brian's like, "We're in a pinch." I'm like, "All right."
Is everybody on
Whoopi's
vacation? There. As long as we got Whoopi and Sonny hosting, we good though.
Yes, I'm here. Yeah. I'm here.
And Sonny's there. Yeah. And Rachel's there. I will say though, it's kind of like deja vu. Yeah. Trump's president again.
Yeah.
Like, what's changed since I was here last? Really?
Yeah. I feel like I'm just re-going through menopause again. Yeah. I mean, I'm just.
Look at Whoopi's socks. Look at Whoopi's socks. Why Whoopi always look like a high-end homeless person?
Period again. Never. Anyway, also joining us as guest co-host, please welcome back attorney, host of Higher Learning Podcast, and former bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay. What's going on?
She looks like she's about 13 years old.
I got the call yesterday too. What were you doing to get here? You in LA?
Who gave her daddy's suit?
What's going on, Rachel?
Thank you for having me. I got the call yesterday too. What were you?
What is up? Who is the stylist on The View that keep giving all of these women these oversized suit coats and stuff like that? Who told them that was the new style? Is there something going on in Fashion Week that I'm not aware of? These chicks is looking like they got on their daddy's suit coat in order to go on an interview, their first interview. What the heck is going on?
What are you doing to get here? You in LA, right? I live in LA, yeah. But when you get the call, you drop it, you come here to share the table with you lovely ladies.
Oh, thank you, my
Is that how that works?
That's exactly how that works.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Well, welcome.
She got
welcome
a big
back.
forehead,
welcome back.
though.
Thank
We like
you.
girls with
Let's
big
talk about what's
foreheads.
going on. So President Biden's full pardon to his son Hunter is being met with a strong reaction from the left side of the aisle, too. Take a look.
What other father in America has the power to pardon their son or daughter if they're convicted of a crime?
Yeah, I don't
need to tell them.
Acting the way that they do.
Biden did.
American people? I think what is hurtful is denying that if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
Yeah.
He is the president of the United States, and it is his right, and he doesn't have to explain to anybody. This is his right as president. He can pardon, if he wants to pardon Bozo the Clown, he can pardon Bozo the Clown.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why people are clutching their pearls while the left is clutching their pearls. Because did y'all forget all the stuff that we said was going on, or that doesn't matter? Because it seems to me, and I had to write it down because I didn't think I would remember it.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Democrats, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You can't let people tell you you're not taking the moral ground when we take the moral ground all the time.
So let me guess. They're going to compare this to Trump, and they're going to say that they get a pass to lie, be hypocritical, and their entire campaign was built against trying to paint Trump as the bad guy that is not going to do what he said he's going to do. And then keep on saying Trump 2025, Project 2025. For some reason, that just kind of disappeared and went out the window. Nobody is talking about Project 2025 anymore. And they're going to say that, oh, no. You can have the opportunity to lie. You're still the greatest of all time. And that you shouldn't be held accountable for it. Because what about that guy over there? Let me guess. That's what the play is going to be.
We fight for migrant rights, women's rights, gay folks' rights, trans rights, and every time we do, suddenly we're being told, oh, you're on the woke agenda.
You can't hide anything.
Did y'all hear everything that Whoopi just described?
Don't let the ash.
I didn't hear anything about what was best for America. I didn't hear anything about women's rights when it comes to preventing men from going in a bathroom. I didn't hear anything about Americans' rights or what's best for America. I didn't hear anything about what's best for UAW workers and steel workers. I didn't hear anything about what makes the most sense as far as lowering costs for everyday people that pay taxes inside the United States of America. Every single thing that she named were things that had nothing to do with the core principles of who we are and what this country is supposed to be established based off of. I didn't hear any of it. They don't even talk about black people no more. Have y'all noticed that? They don't even listen. Let me replay what she just said.
All the time. We fight for migrant rights.
People that's not supposed to be here.
Women's rights.
Separating yourself based off of identity and gender politics.
Gay folks' rights.
Things that you can then pick for yourself, and that don't have nothing to do with what you do in your bathroom or in your bedroom. In your bathroom, gotta wipe that butt off. What you do in your bathroom and in your bedroom don't have nothing to do with whether or not we should hire you or not. That has nothing to do with anything.
Trans rights. And
another thing that you choosing to do, and one of the things that Kamala Harris got killed on in her interviews is the fact that she was using taxpayer dollars to do gender reassignment surgery for prisoners. And that's absolutely the dumbest thing that I've ever heard about. Sorry. Everything that y'all stand on now, okay, so now that Whoopi said that, now do y'all realize why y'all lost? Now do you realize why y'all lost?
I didn't know these.
It could never be more apparent than what she just said to you directly to your face. Everything you fight for has nothing to do with what the majority of 350 million people in this country are suffering from. Everything you fight for has nothing to do with everyday decisions that people are faced with. Has nothing to do with making sure that we got money going into our infrastructure instead of going over to Ukraine and these proxy wars. Have nothing to do with making sure that the people that actually pay taxes here are the ones that's benefiting from what's going on in the federal government, because over in North Carolina, they still suffering. Has nothing to do with making sure that we lower the national debt and we lower prices and we make sure that we preserve jobs. All of that stuff that y'all talking about is stuff that people do that ain't got nothing better to do. It's like a housewife that ain't got nothing better to do, so she gossip all day. People is dealing with real life problems in real world, and y'all still don't get why y'all lost. Dumb.
Every time we do, suddenly we're being told, oh, you're on the woke agenda.
Yep.
Yeah. Either we are this party and we fight for these things, and you see what's going on and you get why he's decided to do this, or you don't. But
so, for all of you that's in the culture that look at yourself as conservative of how you live your life, but is still wrestling with why you then align yourself with the Democratic Party, she just gave you a synopsis. She just broke it down for you, what they stand for. So, you very well may have been a Clinton Democrat. You very well may have even been an Obama Democrat. when he first got into office, not what he did when he left office, but what he stood for when he first got into office. You may very well have been those type of Democrats. But is this the Democratic Party that you signed up for, or is this the Democratic Party that you stand loyal to just because it's a label, not because that's what it actually stands for? Because it doesn't align with what you teaching your children, what you teaching your daughter, what you trying to do for your family, and how you trying to survive when it comes to making money in this economy. Because it's okay. Listen, I switched because this is not my father's Democratic Party. This is not my father's Democratic Party. These are the things that they're fighting for. If you are calling yourself a Democrat today, ask yourself, is these the values and the things that you want to fight for and the principles that you stand for? That's all I'm saying. We got to do a self-check. Got to do a self-check.
You don't go out and chew up other Democrats. This is a big problem, I feel, as a Democrat.
That's what's been so troubling to me, sort of this internal firing squad. It's been really bothering me. And what's also been bothering me is, well, Joe Biden should have stuck to what he said. He should have stuck to his promise. He lied. Let's just take a little refresher course.
Let me guess. We're going to blame it on Trump again.
I don't think that he was lying. Anna Navarro spoke to Joe Biden, and he had every intention not to pardon his son. But once he realized that President-elect Trump is going to be on a revenge tour, there were changing circumstances. He became...
What?
He
got convicted under your presidency.
The pragmatic president that we always knew. Now let's talk about lying. And I also had to write it down because I couldn't remember. The Washington Post indicates that President-elect Trump made false or misleading claims a total of 30,573 times over 4 years. Just in August 2024, NPR clocked him at 162 lies during a news conference. October 24th, CNN clocked him 40 separate lies in only 2 Pennsylvania speeches. So if we want to talk about lying, let's talk about that and stop this pearl clutching about Joe Biden's life.
That's what's wrong with politics, though, right? I mean, it's like, how far down the bottom of the barrel can we go? It's like, well,
no barrel.
Two wrongs don't make a right, though.
Crust.
Two wrongs don't make a right. And I think what people are saying with Hunter specifically is what they hate about politics.
Yeah.
Right? They hate the fact that you can be in these political circles, this elite world, and somehow you're above the law.
But
I don't care who you are.
Much, Abby?
None of us are above the law. And pardons have happened throughout history. So he can do what he wants. You're exactly right. I think the problem is this has been baked for some time. And there's this trend where there were a lot of people that felt a bit gaslit with the way they handled the...
Oh, they got another logical person on there that's sitting between Whoopi and Sunny Hostin that actually is substantiating her argument. I like this woman already.
Inner circle of the Biden team handling his health, how they communicated that. They felt like they weren't as honest. And then you have this. It kind of... I have to just point something out.
But do they hate it that much since they voted the guy in that lied like 40,000 times?
Look, I think that story is... People have made their choice about Trump. They know the good, they know the good, bad, and the ugly. Last time I saw Biden was at this table. And it was when he was announcing he was running. And I can't help but think about how different that moment was and how different that mood was. He said, I'm going to bring this country together. I'm going to get Trump out of office. I'm going to be the palate cleanser that this country desperately needs.
Save the soul of a nation.
What breaks my heart is for a man that has served most of his life, he is going out in one of the worst ways. You are sandwiched between Trump years. You are now pardoning your son from criminal activity. You were ousted by your own party. This is not what he wants his legacy to be. You think he's sitting there thinking, this is how I'm going to be remembered. This is the way I'm going to be written about.
But I think the issue, too, is that we're missing, once again, the forest for the trees. I think we're focusing on the wrong thing. The thing is that we continue to put our faith in politicians, and every single time you do that, they will let you down. I think that what we need to be focusing on are the policies, and we need to hold people, or our politicians, accountable for that. I think that when it comes to what we need to be focusing on, we need to move on. We need to pick up the pieces from this election, and then I think we need to regroup and focus on the next 4 years. I don't think we need to be worrying about the fact that he is pardoning Hunter Biden. I don't think that would have changed how the public views politicians at all. If he did decide to not pardon him, we would still feel the same way.
Cap, get Captain Big Head off the stream. She nervous anyway. She might be a little bit nervous. She got her talking points together. Her voice is a little shaky, a little raspy. I get it. I understand what's happening.
Reported
the fact of the matter
lying.
is the public do feel gaslit.
I
They
would
were
never believe
gaslit.
anything
You
CNN
did lie.
says.
And you're not going to sit here and point the finger at somebody else and try to distract us away from what you said and what you did. And more importantly, as the details come out, why did you pardon him? Not just for the crimes that he got convicted for, but for the last 10, 11 years when you was vice president of the United States of America. And because nobody wants to have the uncomfortable conversation and nobody wants to hold these Democrats accountable because for whatever reason y'all think that they're above the law, even though they never even explained why they brought a bunch of migrants over here in the first place, why we are participating in these proxy wars in the first place, why they continue to not talk to Putin and find some level of diplomacy while at the same time trying to reduce the amount of money that we spending on things that we don't need. But y'all still look at them as the party of honesty, decency, and bringing people together.
Bullshit.
So, my resident
Not the way they've been talking, no.
Lunch Lady show. Always enjoy listening to the Lunch Ladies.
That's why I voted for Trump, because those people showed me that they are fucking crazy. See, there's nothing wrong with anything they listed as something to stand for, but they're completely radicalized about it. They're completely, they're zealous. They're too zealous. They're making it seem as though they are the absolute right. And, you know, it's almost as though they think that we can live without some measure of conservatism. And it doesn't work that way. You have to have a measure of conservatism in your thing there, you know.
Please use all products only as intended. Be well.
Commander Callums, I see nothing.
Dead. All that's left.
Standard black. Let me see. According to this,
Your men were...
they were in the
I could use some...
Mexico.
Okay, we're at 35 minutes. Let's do Jack Morgan, Red Letter Podcast. Housing market situation is not cool, priced out. I'm just tired of politics. Let's do something different.
All right, buckle up. We sound good. So the housing situation, it's not cool. And I don't think it's going to get much better. But you know what? We're going to have a good talk today. If you're new here, welcome. We're going to get deep. We're going to get real deep. We're going to have some fun. This first clip is basically how I feel every single year. This is really going to set the tone. And we're going to have some fun today. We're going to talk about it. Just talk about it.
Did you receive our letter regarding the change in your rent? Yes. This I don't know. It's being raised to $20,000 a month.
No. This is too much. 8,500. This is all we'll give you.
No, sir, this isn't negotiable. We can get our
all
price.
Right. 10,000. That's all. We both go home happy.
I'm sorry. We can't settle for less.
Okay, no deal. You come back when you want to talk deal.
Sir, you don't understand.
Go! What is stealing for? You like me? I have girlfriend. Go!
How long is...
That's kind of how it feels, though. You're like, no. You're like, I can't. But then it's like, you have to. Anyways, that movie is called The Zohan. It's an Adam Sandler movie. I haven't seen it. It's fucking hilarious. It's stupid, but it's funny. Anyways, let's really get deep here. This guy, we're going to talk about it.
How long is this going to go on post-COVID? I'm uneducated. Somebody help me. Like, this house, this is in a suburb of Pittsburgh. $270,000 for 1,000 square foot. That is an apartment, okay? That is a wall-to-wall. You could damn near touch it. No disrespect. But you're asking a so $1,776 for a mortgage. You're asking a young family to pay, after everything's said and done, well over $2,000 on a 30-year mortgage to live in this tiny home. How are realtors making money? Like, how long is this going to go on?
Honestly, when I first saw that, I was like, that's pretty ill. You know, where I live in South Florida, like, my town home, where you don't even own a yard, is over $300K. Now, granted, I do have a lake view. Pretty nice. And I do live basically hood adjacent, so that's kind of nice. You know, cheap gas, liquor stores everywhere, trash on the side of the road. It's pretty nice. I don't want to lie. People sleeping around, homeless guys on the corner. I don't want to brag, but it's kind of luxury. I'm just kidding. But, like, this is kind of not far off. This is Cali, terrible example, but this is like a 3-bedroom, $1 million, basically. But this, where I live, you're looking at $500, $600, $750,000. That's $7,000 a month for rent. No big deal. No big deal. And, but what I've noticed, though, is I don't think it's stopping. To answer that guy's question, here's why I don't think the housing market's going to crash. Or maybe it might go down. But I don't think it is. Like, the fact that right here, San Francisco approved $700 a month sleeping pods in a former bank. Look at this. This is literally nap pods. I don't know if you've seen the movie Internship, where it's like they're in these little nap pods. It's a great movie. But dude, look at this. $700 a month to sleep in this, like, bunk bed style kind of, this is your thing. $700 a month, right here. Do you imagine? I'd rather sleep in a car at that point. Actually, it could be kind of fun. Kind of feel like a slumber party. You know, like the guy right next door, you're like peeking through the curtain. You're like, hey, Rick, psst, you sleeping? He's like, shh. Then your neighbor on the other side's like, shut up. You know, like kicking your wall and shit. Could be kind of fun, actually. But the fact that these are popping up just shows me that I don't think it's going down. And it gets better, though. And by better, I mean worse. It's kind of laughable. Right here, this is what they're doing in Tampa. But this right here goes to show me that I don't think things are going down. Maybe I'm tripping, but we got a lot to unpack here. Mind-boggling stuff.
Tampa, Florida is allowing homeowners to build a rental house in their own backyard called accessory dwelling units, or ADUs. Tampa needs 26,000 more affordable housing units, and they're loosening up restrictive guidelines to allow homeowners to build these ADUs. Here's the best part. Homeowners can now live in either the ADU or the main house because you're going to get more rent for the main house, right? Because it's bigger. Plus, they're allowing more neighborhoods to build ADUs in Tampa. And with these changes, Tampa hopes ADUs will provide much needed affordable housing. And keep in mind, this is going to make your property value go up, which means higher property taxes. So my suggestion is freeze the property taxes for the next 10 years for anyone that builds an ADU, and this will incentivize more people to do it.
Remember, kid.
The fact that this is like the conversation, you know what I mean? Like, and then you feel like if you don't, I think it's all on purpose. Right here, this is kind of we're gonna get real conspiracy here. We're going down the rabbit hole.
Kids, the next time that somebody tells you the government wouldn't do that, oh yes they would.
One person's rent is another person's income.
Do you think we're in a state of emergency when it comes to housing?
I think what we've got, no, I don't.
When he said one person's rent is another person's income, it kind of like we're going to get there. This whole video is going to be basically that, where it's almost forcing everybody to become a landlord, whether it's in your own house or you're renting out your backyard, or you're renting out your Astro van on the side of the house for somebody sleeping. You get what I mean? Or having somebody park their RV in your backyard. It's almost like we're all forcing, even here where I live, I have a 3-bedroom. For a while, I rented out both my rooms. I wanted to focus on my own business so much, I rented out my own bedroom and slept on my own couch. I know. It was like, but I was like, if I get that, I'll get $1,400 a month. I don't have to, But that's kind of on a mass scale here. Anyways, this is in Ireland. It goes, more than 70% of young people are considering immigration for better quality of life. Yeah, sounds like America. Everyone's basically a landlord now. Sounds like America. Irish people leaving home 3 years later than they did a decade ago. Okay, that's standard. Cost of living forcing young people to flee Dublin. Sounds like America, or a lot of Western countries. Vast majority of young people are thinking of leaving Ireland. Sounds familiar. Rents have increased by over 82% since 2010. Unreal.
Tough real estate market has led to historic trends among first-time home buyers. A national survey from the National Association of Realtors found the median age of first-time buyers climbed to a record of 38 years old.
It makes sense because nobody can afford it. I'm 35 and I inherited my house when my mother passed away. So I still haven't actually bought a house. I know. But that's like standard, That sounds about right. But you know what people can afford? You can still afford a simple breakfast sandwich. That's why today's video is sponsored by McKeb's Bagels and Deli. If you're in the South Florida area in West Palm Beach, Royal Palm Beach, McKeb's is my local spot. I'm there on a daily basis. They make everything in-house. They have real food. And they're offering 50% off if you mention my name when you go in. They do serve lunch food as well, but my favorite is their breakfast sandwiches. Unreal. Support local. It's a family-owned business, and they serve real food, real eggs. If you're in the West Palm Beach area, the one right across the street from the Taco Bell on Military and Okeechobee, that's my local spot. Ignore all the fast food places. Get some real stuff for the same price. Maybe a little more. Not really. Mention my name, 50% off. You could also use their app. If you don't feel like waiting, they don't have a drive-thru, but you could pre-order your food, waltz on in, tell them your name, pick it up. And they got great food, man. They really do. I've been going to them for like 10 years. But anyways, they also offer catering, if you're interested in that, to businesses around the town. And, just support local. It's something we can still afford. Anyways, back to everybody being landlords. This is really funny. It's my boy Michael Bordenaro. This is crazy. Like, this is something where they're incentivizing you to rent out your room in order to get approved to buy a house. This is actually kind of alarming. And this dude used to be is a real estate agent, so he knows the inside scoops.
It's going back to this new FHA underwriting guideline. So what they're saying this is going to do is they say it recognizes that rental income received from individuals renting space in borrowers' homes is a stable and viable source of income that increases housing affordability and allows borrowers to better manage housing costs. So does anybody out there think it's a good idea that somebody should be able to buy a house based on not only what their income is, but what they can potentially rent out one of their bedrooms for as well? Does that sound like a good idea? That you need to have a roommate essentially to afford that house, because they're qualifying your income based on as if you had that roommate. Because if you don't have that roommate, then obviously you won't be able to afford the house. Does anybody think that this situation is going to end well?
I mean, it's already not ending well. He's got a good point. People already need to have roommates. So that does make sense. And honestly, if that allows me to go buy a house a little bit easier, I'm not exactly mad at it. I don't think it's the best option, but it's kind of trippy. But here's what I mean by you're almost forced to have a roommate, right? This guy right here basically speaks for everybody in America, unless you live in a real rural town. But even there, I've been searching places like Tennessee, Michigan, even those places. That's a little absurd. But right here, this is what I mean by forced roommate situation.
Literally this. How is every apartment complex somehow a luxury apartment?
I just got my rent increase for this year, and it's almost $200. Obviously, I can't afford that, and I'm going to have to move. But
He goes, obviously, by my mustache, I can't afford it. It's like, we didn't know that until now. But most people, like, I get it. I do get it.
when I look at the map, there's nothing in the county that I live in, and anything in the surrounding areas. And what, you want me to live in butt-fuck so then I have to commute 1,000,000 miles? And that's what we're forcing young people to do. So when we say we need to increase the housing stock, we mean it. New Jersey is going to reach build out by 2050. That means no more buildable land. So that means we have to build up. We have to allow more ADUs. And I know some people are freaking out about that. But we have the capacity here in New Jersey.
Say it's not just Florida. This is like everywhere. The ADU situation. The dwelling on the side of the house. Or in the backyard. The tiny home behind your home. but then, like, how feasible is that? That's what I mean. That's why I mean by the roommate situation. We're going to get there.
Literally a little metropolis. They can build 6 stories.
Your rent will continue to go up, while your mortgage may stay the same. Property taxes and insurance will always fluctuate, but that mortgage will stay the same, and your rent will always keep going up. Think about that.
She's lying. She's lying. It just always goes up. Mortgage and rent. Unless you own your house and you could just not have insurance, it goes up. Property taxes aren't going to. Not to my knowledge. I have a mortgage. In the past 5 years, it's going up $750 per month, every month. So, granted, I'm still paying a little less than if I were to rent, but still, think about that. And I get pissed every year. I go, son of a bitch. And then I break something. I move on. I go, I gotta make more money. You know what I mean? Or I gotta rent out my room. Not really. I don't have to do that anymore. But I would if I had to. But here's the crazy thing, right? About the rooms for rent. About 10 years ago, I was looking for rooms for rent for my dad. Now look at, and there was like nowhere. You had to just go on Craigslist, basically. Now there's websites galore. Look at this. Roommates.com. Roomster. Roomies.com. Hold on. Spareroom.com. I'm blown away by this, but at the same time, it does make sense. But it's all ages. Here, I'll just click on one of these. Roomster. Citru. Best roommate finder in West Palm Beach. Diggs. No. Look at how many of these there are. I know I covered this in one of the last housing videos, but I'm blown away. We're going to Roomies here. But check this out. Speaking of, oh, your mortgage isn't going up. Hey, it's all going up, baby. And it's all good. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to make it seem like this is all terrible. I'm just saying, this is kind of, it's mind-boggling. But right here, Danielle, she's 69 years old. She's a retired professional artist and hat maker. $850 a month to live with her. But check this out, though. Hold on. This is a boosted post. Check this out. 49 years old, Michelle. She's a chef and a mom of a mom to older and one younger child. She's 420 friendly. Sounds like you're living with her and her kids for $1,500 a month. Let that soak in for a second. Hold on, it gets better. Heidi and Rhonda, 59 and 73. You can go move in with the Golden Girls for $1,200 a month. That actually sounds kind of fun. But think about that. $1,200 a month. Now remember the nap pot in the beginning with your neighbor, Little Rick. Okay? And Sharon on the right. Yeah. Yeah. Heidi and Rhonda. Okay? This is where it's at, though. And it's all ages, dude. It doesn't stop. Okay, we got another one here. 1,300. Looks like it's a back unit at a house. We got Dan. Check it out. Dan, 30 years old. He's a bartender serving. He's looking for a clean and quiet person, preferably a lady with nice tits and a great ass. $1,000 a month to go live with Dan. All right. He's 30. It's all ages, dude. It doesn't stop. Kiana Stone, 23, 800. Okay, you can go live with Tracy. She's 56. She looks fun. Look at her. $1,000. The point is it's literally like this. It's forcing people to make rent the income, and also they can't afford it anymore. And I get it. I live with me and my lady live together. We divvy it up. We work together. So look at that. She could go live with Jay for only $400 a month. Jay, I'm coming over, Big Daddy. I'm moving in with Jay. Look at him. So, not to make light, but it keeps going. 31, 21, 23 years old. It doesn't stop. And I think this is kind of, wow, dude, 113,000 listings. And that's just, I mean, that might be all over the place. But it keeps going. Here's another one, Roomster. Hold on, I'm just so curious about this. It's kind of mind-boggling. Because back when I was on 61 rooms for rent in West Palm Beach, 46 years old, renting out their room, 1,100. It's just baffling. 31. Top floor, though. Boom, top floor. 1,300 to go live with Lachelle, 31. She's a Capricorn, too. She's got her sign there. No, I'm just kidding. I think that's just a female sign. Carrie, 34, 900 a month. I mean, that's just where it's at, dude. I mean, this used to be where you could 1,500 to go live with Brooke. She looks like a cool girl. Spacious, private patio. The room comes with a dresser, nightstand, and a queen mattress. Can live like a king and sleep on a queen. 1,500 a month. I mean, you would think you'd get your own place for that. It keeps going. Darlon, 30 years old. Elvis, I live with Elvis, the king. 47, $850. I don't know how long this goes on for. This just keeps going, dude. Anyways, you guys leave your thoughts. I'm not quite sure what to do, and I appreciate everybody that bought a shirt. RLP Classic. I'll leave the link below. I'm just tripped out by it, dude. I can't believe it. Just keeps going. The party doesn't stop, and I don't know what the answer is. I do know what the answer is. Rent out your room. Rent a room. That's it. Just rent a room. Sleep in a nap pod. We got to do a whole video on van life. I'm due for one of those because that's your other option. Anyways, or you just move to Nantucket. No, I'm just kidding. That's expensive. Brazil, Ecuador, Yugoslavia, Peru. Oh, also, that leather jacket I gave away, I did pick somebody, Zach. I forget your last name, but I already shipped it out. So everybody that's been DMing me on Instagram, jacket's gone, Big Daddies. Anyways, solid talk. I'm done looking at rooms for rent today, but it's kind of mind-boggling stuff. It really is. I wish this existed 10 years ago. Would have made my life easy.
Where's the button? Did it glitch? It glitched, didn't it? Glitch. Yeah, I don't see anybody here. So when that glitches and whatever or whoever you're supposed to talk to doesn't show up, the only thing you could go do is go out of the instance just outside this border, like right here, just outside, and then go back in and hope it resets and doesn't lose your progress. Here's a guy whose ass I kicked. Dread Master Rumpus. So many of them.
You dare seek control over the Dread Masters?
Madziła storiast, zitke lamst, mietke inti.
Fear.
Jagat, hienat rebiat.
None can contain us, not this prison, not the Republic, and certainly not these creatures.
It's a privilege to finally meet the Dread Masters.
Of course. The dark side is strong with you, but you are in the presence of true power now.
In here, men!
Warden Gra, that lump in...
They're scared enough already. Go. Spread...
Come on, men!
We have been...
They report your release. Come on.
I go. You have my...
Dreadnought.
Alright, so we got the Dread Masters. See? It glitched and I still managed to get through that thing. Oh, man. See what else we got here. Barack Obama.
We want to talk about the...
All right, Millionaire Morning Show. Aurora City Councilman was right all along after migrant gangs arrested in New York after fleeing.
migrant crisis. We only going to spend 10 minutes on this, but some people are getting vindication. They are being redeemed.
Wow.
They are bringing themselves back to the front of the congregation and they saying, I told you so. And one of the people just so happens to be an Aurora City Council member that we actually reported on earlier in this year. Check it out.
First up tonight, an update to a story we've been following since August.
Yeah, you may recognize the video we showed you from Aurora, this one right here. Now today, a big-time bust in New York City after this viral video. Police there arresting 2 men involved in the gang Trende Aragua. News Nation's Rich McHugh has that story tonight.
Yeah, it was a big-time bust in New York City involving New York Police Department and federal officials. They arrested at least 2 members of Trende Aragua, that notorious Venezuelan gang. The members that they arrested were tied to that viral video that we now say is viral from Aurora, Colorado this past summer when Trende Aragua took over this apartment complex. So these 2 that were arrested were involved in that video or were part of that video. The raid was led by Homeland Security Violent Gang Task Force and NYPD after a federal search warrant was issued by the Southern District of New York. Among those arrested were Daniel Aramillo Meneses and Edison Pena Anguillo.
So, after all of this time, after the election, after all of that, they finally captured these guys, and guess where they captured them at? New York. New York, you do something wrong. You break into an apartment, you slap a chick up aside the head the wrong way and not be playing. You know how y'all be play fighting? Hit her too hard and let her go call the police. You getting arrested tomorrow. Matter of fact, you getting arrested tonight, and don't let it be the weekend because you're not going to see a judge. They're not giving you bail. Then here in Michigan, in most places, you got to spend at least a 3-day cool-off period. Don't care if you lose your job, don't none of that. 3-day cool-off period. You can't do nothing inside of the United States of America without getting chased down. But they, right after they went viral. And then they ain't find them until they did another crime over in New York. They went from Denver to New York after a viral video started to die down. They finally got them in New York.
Those 2 were alleged to be involved in a fatal shooting in Aurora, Colorado in August. Arrest warrant was issued on October 1st. Both have been caught and released multiple times. U.S. Border Patrol first encountered Pena in El Paso, Texas in 2023. After he entered the country illegally, Border Patrol issued him a notice to appear and released him. Later, he was arrested in Colorado on local charges. An immigration judge ordered Pena removed to Venezuela on February 23rd, 2024, after he didn't appear in court. The other guy, Amarillo, was encountered on September 10th, 2023 by Border Patrol in El Paso, Texas, after he entered the country illegally. He issued a notice to appear, and he was released on September 14th.
4 days later.
Police Department in Colorado put out a warrant for his arrest on August.
Shout out to Biden and Kamala Harris.
August 19th of this year. It's unclear how both of these men came to New York City or when. Their mugshots and their indictments remain under seal. Both are in custody in Lower Manhattan, federal in custody in Lower Manhattan. ICE officials tell me that it's up to federal authorities whether to simply deport them back to Venezuela or prosecute them here for these crimes and then serve out their time and then deport them back to Venezuela.
Cool. So, one of the women that was screaming on the rooftop about what was going on over in Denver and Aurora was a city councilwoman. And she was actually there helping some of the residents move out of the apartments that was being taken over by gangs. And she was screaming on the rooftops. Oh, no. Listen, Biden, Kamala Harris, they keep acting like it ain't gangs. They keep trying to numb this down or dumb this down for the election and all of that. But it's real. It's happening. They taking over. It's hard over here. And so while they was trying to act like they wasn't eating cats and dogs, they wasn't taking over apartment buildings, they wasn't running up in places and telling them that they had to pay rent. They wasn't taking over and stealing and theft and frauding. They wasn't somehow getting guns and breaking into gun stores. This woman in particular actually was being held accountable by her liberal counterparts and told that she was wrong. Well, it turns out she was right.
And for more on the threat posed by TDA to cities across the country, let's bring in Aurora, Colorado City Council member at large, Daniel Jurinsky.
She need to be promoted to mayor.
Councilwoman Jurinsky, it's so good to talk to you today. And I have to tell you, I'm coming to you, talking to you from our studio in Denver. I live in the city. And when you first sounded the alarm on this, when you started talking about this in the summer, you were vilified by local media, by state and local officials. And here we are. And I just want to give you a chance to just express your thoughts on this.
Yeah, thank you so much. Vindication is always a good day, right? But despite everything they threw at me, despite the name calling, the governor personally coming after me saying that this is all a feature of my imagination, the smear stories, the personal attacks, turns out that these are confirmed gang members of Tren de Aragua, and 2 of the 6 have been arrested out of that viral video. But I'm going to tell you right now, the other 4 will be arrested. Tom Homan is going to find them, and you're going to find out that they are Tren de Aragua as well. And I stand by what I have said from the very beginning of all of this. Tren de Aragua took over 3 apartment complexes in the city of Aurora, and Americans were trapped and tortured. And then it turned into them trapping and torturing other migrants.
Danielle, So first they tried to act like she was crazy. They tried to act like, oh, no. That's just a lie. Ain't nobody really over here taking over nothing. Everything is chill. We slow motion. But the American people knew. We not crazy. We paid attention. I don't know if they was paying attention over there in Denver. I don't know if they was paying attention in Aurora. I don't know if they was paying attention in Colorado. Why? Because guess what they did? They still voted blue. That was one of the states. Colorado is a state that Kamala Harris won. It is not a swing state. Now, I don't know how far back over to the conservative side that people started to vote, because it's a lot of people that started to move more conservative in a lot of these blue strongholds. But Colorado, Illinois, California, New Mexico, New York, all of those places were definitively blue. Still voted the same way. The places that is under the most duress were the places that still stayed blue.
Griff, I interviewed earlier this week the acting ICE director, PJ Lechleitner, and we talked extensively about TDA, and he told us, revealing for the first time, that for months there has been a special task force, Operation Athens, specifically targeting TDA, and the amount of investigations they have across the nation digging into it. Listen here. Here's some of what he told me.
Now we're just shy of 20% of our gang investigations are TDA related. Pretty substantial. So we're closing in on about 200 investigations that we have going on right now. Enough so that in early part of this year of 24, we initiated this thing that's called Operation Athens. So it's to combat specifically TDA.
And yet, Danielle, Aurora PD saying
now we have to allocate a huge group of resources or a huge amount of money and resources and personnel to now deal with something that should not have been in our cities in the first place. It is being reported that they're trying to take over 16 major cities inside of the United States of America. 16. They are taking over cities. A gang in less than 3 years is infiltrating, gun running, running fraud, taking over entire apartment buildings like this is the Carter in 16 cities. Now, over 20% of resources is being allocated to chasing down this particular gang, which means that it's costing taxpayers money to do so. Yet you got the Denver mayor and multiple different mayors, including in Chicago, sitting there saying, nah, we not going to deal with deportation. You got Jasmine Crockett's big head. I got multiple different videos. Don't worry, we're going to bring her to the front of the congregation tomorrow, talking about deportations isn't going to work. It's not a thing. We shouldn't even be embracing it. You have major cities under siege. And you know the ones that suffer the most? Middle class and poor people. Middle class and poor people. Because they're not taking over our homes. They're going to take over the people that are the most vulnerable and make them pay rent and extort them. It's the new mob.
Trying to downplay this. Are they trying to hide something? Are they not being forthright?
Yeah, as far as them trying to hide something, that would be very speculative on my part, but they have not been forthright. And that is something that I have not figured out from day one. These folks were arrested, these gang members were arrested in New York, but the warrants were out of Aurora. So there are many, many Aurora police officers, rank and file detectives that are doing their job. They're putting out these arrest warrants. They know the truth. Somehow this cover-up has come straight out of the Aurora Police Chief's office. It could all be speculation, but I do believe that our Governor Jared Polis is involved somewhat in this cover-up because he was very, very quick to jump on me. And to this day, I've not heard from any of the top elected officials in this state, which all happen to be Democrats. I've not heard from any of them. But I am very proud of myself that this feature of my imagination, I caused so much noise, brought so much attention to this transnational gang that invaded parts of my city, took over 3 apartment complexes. I put them on the run. And now I look forward to working with Tom Homan and the Trump administration to rid our entire country of this Venezuelan gang.
And she needs to be mayor of her city.
Yeah.
Afragiban.
Tiffany Henry ousted.
Tiff. I feel like we ain't covered Tiffany Henyard in a long time. What do y'all think? I feel like I haven't covered Tiffany, and I've been intentionally not covering Tiff because I felt like it was things that was way more important than just entertainment. I looked at what was happening in Thornton Township and Dalton, Illinois as a clown show, as a 100% clown show. I've done so many live streams covering what was going on with Tiffany Henyard. It's crazy. It's just absolutely insane how many live streams that we've done. But we back. We are here now. As merits now. We here now. And we're covering Tiffany Henyard and what's going on over in Thornton. And they saying that she was thrown off the ballot. Now, I have not done any research on this because I wanted to organically and authentically react to it and find out what was going on. Just like y'all, I was hearing about it all yesterday. So this is what happened with Tiffany Henyard being ousted from the ballot in Thornton Township.
Breaking news tonight from suburban Thornton Township. More drama for embattled supervisor Tiffany Henyard.
And WGN's Jenna Barnes is live in Homewood with more details for us right now. Jenna.
Ray and Micah, we were promised a raucous caucus, and indeed, that is what we witnessed. Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, who was appointed to that position tonight, lost her bid for the Democratic Party's nomination in this rarely used political process. It now appears if she wants to run for supervisor again, it will have to be as a write-in candidate. That is the sound of an auditorium full of Tiffany Henyard opponents rejecting her nomination for Thornton.
Wait a minute. When she gets ready to speak, are the people yelling to try to drown her out?
So,
what are y'all doing? Wait.
I'm going to see if I can get
Did
this
they
data.
organize a drown out campaign so that when she goes to speak and say what she want to say, that the people are screaming and yelling in unison all at the same time for the entirety of when she want to talk? Come on, man. Come on, dog. This is a freak show. This is literally a freak show. Hold on, let me see something again. I gotta find out what's going on over here.
That is the sound of an auditorium full of Tiffany Henyard opponents rejecting her nomination for Thornton Township Supervisor in the party's first township caucus in decades.
How you ain't let the people be heard?
As she protested the process, arguing her supporters were still waiting to be let inside.
Guys, have a good night, eat the food, and be merry. This meeting is adjourned.
The meeting lasted only moments, but it was strategized beforehand. State Senator Napoleon Harris is the Democratic committeeman for Thornton Township. He alone decides whether to hold a primary election or a caucus. Amid the turmoil tied to embattled Supervisor Henyard, Harris chose a caucus and won the nomination.
The Democratic nominee for supervisor is Napoleon Harris.
Henyard walked out of the meeting and into a waiting SUV without speaking to us, but here's what she said before the caucus began.
They can't beat me. If they could beat me, they would have went to the polls.
What do you do tonight if you don't get the Democratic Party's nomination?
What do you mean? I will be victorious tonight. You will see. My people are here. They're not going to go nowhere. The show will go on.
Her allies now figuring out their next steps.
This is the biggest. This is a fraud.
To fight the result.
This is criminal. I would easily say hundreds of people that were not allowed in to be a part of the process.
And we did hear quite a few complaints tonight that Henyard opponents were allowed inside before her supporters. We know there was an event going on before the caucus began. Napoleon Harris's attorney told me that was a Democratic Party fundraiser, although Harris himself said it was not a fundraiser. So that's something that will certainly be examined in the coming days. I am told, though, that those people who were let in had their IDs checked to make sure that they were registered Democratic voters who live in Thornton Township.
All right, so let me give my opinion on this so far, and I'm gonna go to another. I want to source this from multiple different angles, also, but I'm gonna give my opinion on this. Gosh, I don't even want to have this conversation. I don't want to say this, but I have to because I got to say what I really think. That's what y'all know me for. Right or wrong, good or bad, that's what y'all know me for. I think that this is trash, 100%. I think that this is trash. I know, see, the problem with people, and even the people inside of my chat right now, is that they let their emotions get the best of them instead of letting the Democratic Party, the process, the voting process takes place. If she was to be ousted based off of voters, then that is the thing that I think needs to stand. But the fact of the matter is that them preventing and then bullying and trying to prevent people from getting in and then using some backhanded door tactic to prevent somebody from even being on the ballot is ghetto, it is trash, and I do not agree with it. I'm sorry. I know it's not popular to say because she's an unpopular person, but objectively speaking, I don't think that you can circumvent the voting process, and the people are the ones that need to decide. The registered voters during the primary are the ones that need to decide whether or not they want to oust her or not. Now, if y'all vote her out or if she can be beat, then beat her. But do not come with some backhand tactic, disqualification. I'm only going to let certain people in here and we're going to scream them out of the building. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. The same way that I believe that there was election interference that was happening and trying to keep Trump off the ballot. I don't think that we're mature enough to truly have this conversation right now. I don't think that we're mature enough based off of what I'm seeing on this video. Objectively speaking, I don't believe that we are mature enough to have this conversation right now. The people determined that they wanted Trump to be president of the United States of America, regardless of what legalese that they tried to throw to try to keep him off of the ballot. And he had to go through all of this persecution and prosecution to then get on the ballot because that's what we wanted. And we decided, and that's why they so mad, because they couldn't finesse and say, well, he's a felon that then got voted in. No. Y'all tried to finesse. Y'all tried to go through some backdoor process because I see people in the chat saying, but is it legal? But is it legal? It's not whether or not it's legal. It's whether or not it's being finessed, because you could push a lot of things. It's illegal to send somebody to jail for 30 years for a crime that they didn't commit if they are accused in a court of law and then convicted amongst a jury of their peers. Doesn't mean it is right. And I hate to have to take this position because anybody that wants this to happen is all cool because they don't like her. I don't like her either. But I also am an advocate for a fair and free election, and people need to vote, not just say that she can't participate in the Democratic primary. She has not been convicted of a crime. She has not been arrested for a crime that would keep her off the ballot. I am not. As of that video, and I'm going to play other videos, I do not agree with the idea that you should keep somebody out of the Democratic primary by bullying instead of letting the voters decide. I do not agree. I do not agree whatsoever. And again, I know that it's an unpopular, position. I know that because I don't necessarily care for the way that she governed, and I think that the people in Thornton are suffering because of what she said, but I do not agree, and I think that this is a coup. I think that this is absolutely a finesse, and this is one of the reasons why we can't take the community serious, because instead of y'all mobilizing and going to the polls and saying that, no, I vote against her, y'all want to have these bullying tactics because it's popular to do at the time. I don't agree with it. I absolutely don't agree with it. Nope, I don't. I don't agree with it. Let me go into another video to see it from a different angle. I'm going to try to get it from as many different angles. I don't agree with it. I don't.
Breaking news tonight at 10. One of Tiffany Henyard's jobs is at risk. The embattled Thornton Township supervisor wanted to run for re-election, but after this rowdy caucus tonight, her name will not be on the ballot.
Our Jermont Terry has been following the South suburban political drama for years now. He is live with what happened and Henyard's emotional reaction.
Somebody said your principles are valid. She's just not deserving of it. Every single American in the United States of America that has not been convicted of a crime or is abiding by the election process is deserving of it. Listen, let me tell you something. I have my opinion, but then I try to be as objective as possible as far as looking at the facts. Here's the reality. I did not agree with the way that Young Thug's trial went as far as the judge at that time, that black man judge that was finessing, doing things behind the back. I said that it should have been a mistrial. I said that the trial should have been thrown out. Now, do I believe that Thug was possibly guilty and that he was terrorizing a community? 100%. But I believe in the justice system more. And so if you cannot prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law without finessing a system, you got to let that man go. So I may not necessarily like the things that Young Thug was being accused of, but more importantly, it is up to you. It is innocent until proven guilty, and I would take that position for anybody that is being arrested and has not been proven to be guilty. So regardless of how I personally feel about what he was doing in the community or what he was accused of, that does not absolve him from getting due process, and that's what makes us unique. That's what makes us awesome inside of the United States of America. So it doesn't matter how I feel about a person. The only thing that matters is whether or not you are actually doing things according to what makes most sense as far as what we've established as our cultural norm of what makes sense in the United States of America. I am going to always side with objective over how I feel when it comes to these type of issues. The same way that I sided with Trump and I said that it was election interference and them trying to get Fani Willis and them meeting at the White House in order to try to prevent him from being in office by throwing these false charges and stuff like that. I'm going to take the same position on the flip side. Just because I don't like her don't mean that she don't deserve to be on the ballot, and you can go with some little rigmarole and some finesse in order to keep her off. Because see, here's the problem with that. That can happen on both sides. What happened when you do it to a conservative that you actually like and they start to finesse the process? Then y'all gonna be mad because you're gonna say, oh, no, it's a bunch of sassy people over there getting involved and no, they can't do that. See, it gotta be fair across the board. Regardless of how we feel, it has to be fair across the board. You cannot take it and only do it based off of how you like the person, and so it makes sense, but it don't make sense when it's against your candidate. It's got to be fair across the board. You cannot finesse it. I do not agree with it. I don't. And if the people actually, that's why I agree with Brandon Johnson being mayor of Chicago, because y'all voted on it. And so I say don't move from Chicago because this is the thing that y'all advocated for. Deal with the thing that you got inside of your city. It's the whole reason why I won't move away from Michigan, because regardless of whether or not I agree with Gretchen Whitmer, which I don't, I was born and raised here. I'm a registered voter here. I mobilize. I use my platform in order to advocate against certain things. And so now I say yay or nay, and then I live with the process, and then I stay in my city, and then I just work harder the next election. I don't believe in running from your problems. I believe in staying strong, staying down, and you get what you deserve. And so if they voted him in there, I may hold him accountable and I may say he trash, but I think that he won in that free and fair election. I don't agree. I just don't agree with it at all.
Jermont.
Erica and Joe, Tiffany Henyard likes to tell people, quote, "Let me educate you on how this works." Well, tonight you can say she was schooled on how the Democratic caucus works right here in Thornton Township. You can also say that she flunked out because her name is not appearing on the ballot.
Folks lined up early and in the code for the Thornton Township Democratic Caucus. Everyone outside and those inside the auditorium were here to vote on who will be the Democratic nominees in the township, including the coveted supervisor position. And Tuesday night's caucus left the current supervisor, Tiffany Henyard, fuming.
None of this the right way. Illegal. Napoleon.
That's Henyard pleading her case to committeeman State Senator Napoleon Harris. As a committeeman, Harris set the rules Tuesday night, the first caucus in Thornton Township in nearly 30 years.
That person who's
Really? Y'all ain't did this for 30 years. Okay.
says this seems to be outdated. You say what to that?
People in Thornton Township may be new to caucuses because they haven't had them in a while, but this has been the tradition for many other townships around the state.
And those in this room came out to see if Henyard would get the nomination. An uphill battle for the controversy surrounding her administration. Henyard was not in favor of the caucus.
I will be suing everybody tomorrow. This is illegal.
This is illegal in your opinion?
Illegal.
Okay. So let's talk about it.
And she's ignorant as piss. She don't even know how to pronounce her words correctly, but again, I don't agree with it. I straight up don't agree with it.
Your concern is you brought people in to be bused.
All the people outside. They let one person in.
Henyard used Thornton Township buses to transport supporters, mostly seniors. Yet many of the supporters did not get inside the packed auditorium of 600 people.
This is a process that's been going on way before me, and it's just I'm exercising my rights as a committeeman to hold a caucus.
And it is legal. When it was all said and done, the caucus voted, and Henyard did not get the nomination. Yet listen to who the caucus placed on the ballot.
The Democratic slate that would represent Thornton Township at the April 1st consolidated election reads as follows. For Supervisor, Napoleon Harris.
Henyard left emotional and upset knowing her name will not appear on the April ballot, to the pleasure of many in the room.
I think it's very unfair that I don't get a chance to make the decision of who I want where.
And who did you want to vote for?
I wanted to vote for Tiffany.
She came late, and then she had an attitude because they couldn't get in.
Henyard can only become a write-in candidate, which her supporters say is not impossible.
I think enough people know her name to write her name in, and I believe we could still win it.
Now, to break it down, tonight's caucus was essentially the primary election, and other townships held their caucuses as well on this Tuesday. Now, since she did not win the nomination, Henyard cannot run as an independent, so her only option at this hour is a write-in candidate.
Damn it.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. It's going to play out however it want to play out. But again, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I just don't. And I know that there's people that's going to disagree with me because they don't like Tiffany Henyard. I don't agree with it. I'm not rocking with it. And so we all know that whoever gets nominated as the Democrat in the primary is going to be the one that wins the seat. And so it's almost not even an election. And in other cities and in other places across the country, this is how they maintain power. This is how they keep a concentration of power. And the real election is not even Democrat versus Republican. The real election is in the primary because they already know the majority of the people is going to vote Democrat regardless. So I'm not rocking with it. I don't agree with it. I'm not rocking with it. I think that they know. Some people are saying that they advertised it as a fundraising event or something like that from the book. I don't know what it is. But all I know is I don't agree with it. And I think that the election process is compromised in some places. And if it was on the other way around, or if it was a person that y'all actually supported, y'all would be against it also, and y'all would be in an uproar. So a lot of people are hypocrites. We hypocritical in the way that we assess things. I think that this is trash, and I think that you should let the people actually go to the polls and vote in a primary to determine who they want to be representative, who they want to be their representative for Thornton Township Supervisor on the Democratic side. That's just my opinion. I'm standing on that. I said what I said. It is what it is. So,
Well, I went up one way and then I came back the other way and I went along the surface, and for the life of me, I can't see how I would be able to get over there, but you know, I don't see a way up there. There's two ways to get there. One is this way, but there's no way up here. Normally there's a path or an access point where you start and then you follow the path, or there's a way to like jump up there. But I don't see it on this side and I don't see it on the other side. Either way, you would have to, according to what I'm seeing over there, let's go back in here. Let's get this. To get that, unless, like, you see, there's a datacron, but you would have to drop down from somewhere, land on top of it, on top of that thing, to get that datacron. But I don't see where you would drop down from, unless there's something up there, like a path or some access point on either side. So potentially you can drop down from the back, maybe from the side. Hopefully you don't die. But how would I, you know what I mean? I don't see a lot of options here. There's not a lot of, let me jump down and let's see. Like normally I go to the side, that won't work. I would try to climb this side here somewhere to try to get there. Yeah. Whoa! You see, that's what happens. Oh boy, that's funny.
Please use all products only as intended. Be well.
Well, it sounds like they railroaded that woman, and that's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. But I think people, I don't think they really care as much as they think they do anymore about, you know, the truth of the details and all that. Let's see.
Do you require medical attention? Be well.
Do quarter, John.
Okay. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll go here. I saw that datacron, I was like, shit, I gotta try to get it, and I kept looking for the opening. There's gotta be an opening or a way up there, but it could be like a secret passage that gets you to that little cliff, that cleft in the rock where you drop down. And that's the best I could think of. All right, it's been an hour and 30 minutes. And then go ahead and disconnect here or stop the video here. You have a good day. Bye-bye.